What's up, yo? Had to go make me a thrift store run and get some household items, but I found some crazy deals. Now look at this. I was in the thrift store. You know I had to get the telescope because just with the camera alone, I've been finding some crazy finds up there in the skies that's not of this world and of this origin. This one was only $9.99, and it's a Polaroid telescope. I tested it out in the store, from different angles to make sure, you could see everything clearly and accurately through it, which worked. I had to go get some fruits and vegetables to add on to my diet, as far as the no meat process, And people think because you see me in the bar the other day that I don't stick fast to my diet, and well, I do, that don't change nothing, If anything, alcohol kills parasites more, and I don't drink every day, and I don't drink every week. And when I do drink, and you see me post a video like that, I literally go out probably not even once a month. That was my first time going out, and who knows, at least probably good 2 months. I don't even go out like that, and I'm not a big drinker. I do not love drinking, but I am going to treat myself here from time to time, and guess what? That don't make me, break me, or change nothing. Your health is your wealth, and you got to redeem yourself, So, enough with the distractions of that. But yeah, I got me a pineapple. They said that the magical name for the pineapple is Anana. You put it in a bowl, they said it brings abundance into your household, in your life. Kind of like the money rice jar, A lot of people don't know. This thing has manifested so much, just as simple, affirmations on a bay leaf, reflect your intention on there, rice, bind it, put your coins in there, and, candle wax. And literally, your affirmation is just another form of prayer, reflecting your intentions onto something, You leave that right by the door. And I'm not even going to go in and tell them where this thing brought me, because I don't need everybody leeching to me like a damn magnet, because that's what people do. They don't check up on you no other time, any other day. Then nobody want to see how you doing or check your well-being of anything. But when it feels that you got something to offer them, guess what? Everybody is all over you. Then everybody's just so enchanted and in need of something. But guess what? When motherfuckers walk around out here broke and need $5 or $10, guess what? Motherfuckers can't do nothing for you, And everybody get amnesia. They forget the fact of all you done did for them or how much you tried to help them or bless them, Guess what? It don't even matter if I'm at my wit's end. If I got it, guess what? I'm going to give it. And sometimes even when I don't got it to give, I still give it anyway, because what the hell am I going to do with it? I know the universe is going to restore what's due, because that's just how it goes. It always takes a sacrifice. A sacrifice is when you let go of something that you are holding on that no longer serves you. By you letting that go, you create room for something new to manifest and come into your life, You close old doors so new ones can open, And that's how it works. It's called laws of cause and effect, Just because you don't see it or how the outcome is going to be, you believe. Your belief deep down inside that you know from consistencies and patterns. Because people can always lie to you, but consistencies and patterns never do. So if you see that pattern in your life and you see how things unfold and unravel due through the consistencies process, just like the seasons change. For sure what's going to come about that by the timing, So I know for sure what's going to come about that of my giving, or putting out, input, output, So that's how you got to look at things. But back to this. I went in the thrift store. I found this thing. I don't know exactly what it is, but I was reading it. It says Pure Earth Water. And right here, it's saying how it earthware, ceramic, stone, pre-filter. It tells you how this thing alkalines and clears your water. It got, you know, a 6-step filtration system in there for the water. You know, energizing, alkalize, remineralize, taste great, and hydrating. This thing was $34.99 in there. So if something's $34.99 in the thrift store, that means if you go online right now and look what it is, it's going to be quadruple that price, and probably even more, you know. But this is kind of like what this is right here. This is just like a little mini you put on the faucet, but you know, it has a 4-way filtration, you know, where it filters the water, you know, because we all know that our water, you know, the natural water systems within the cities are filled with chlorine and fluoride, you know, and that's not good for nobody, you know. We need something that's alive, living, you know, that are alkaline and recharge the electrons in our bodies, you know, not stuff that's going to calcify our pineal gland and have our internal system not functioning properly and have us all stagnated and discombobulated. That's not the way, you know. So I got me one of these little dragon fruits. I got the bananas. This is I learned from watching a video a long time ago. They said anytime you see something in a lot or a fruit lot, always look for the number 9. It means it's an organic. And so happened, I was looking at the numbers before I even looked what it said, but it said organic bananas. As soon as I seen that number 9, I already knew that was the one I was going to get because I always look at the number code. Somebody broke that down a long time ago in a video and showed how, you know, when you're buying fruits, you know, the monitor stuff like that because, you know, some fruits have pesticides, they're grown a certain way. You know, it's a lot of things that they do with this stuff, especially in the age of, you know, bioengineering and creating synthetic products, you know. Just like they got lettuce out here that burns and smells like plastic. You got tomatoes out here that if you put them in a boiling pot of water and add a little pinch of salt, you'll see these things start swimming around like fucking living organism or tadpole in the water, you know. So it's wild out here. Even if you boil your water nowadays, it's not going to have the same effects, you know. If you look, if you get a glass of water out the sink right now, you're going to see like little particles floating around and they look like little tissue particles. And you got to look at this water system was created hundreds of years ago, and it ain't like they digging something up to update it. So you got corrosion, rust, and all types of metals within the pipes, and then you have sewer lines that are kind of all connected, even though they block it out to an extent, but who's to say that these is A1 systems that was created hundreds of years ago? Yes, things can use improvement and be advanced over time, but it costs too much money for them to do that. So therefore, we got to take it upon ourselves, you know, to take care of ourselves, you know. But yeah. So, yes, I definitely got the fruits and vegetables. I got these in the mail, too, yesterday. I slept with them last night. I did sleep like a baby. It's Dream Patches. It's magnesium, glycinate, ashwagandha. I told you ashwagandha helps balance the whole body out, you know, in women and men. Magnesium, that's a good thing to use. Like, say if you detoxing from something or your body is unbalanced, you know, your equilibrium is off. You know, say if you was going through withdrawal or something, a key product to use is magnesium. Ashwagandha for overall balance. It's got melatonin in it and other things. But what these do, they work like nicotine patches. They dissolve within the skin. As fruit extract, melatonin. I can't pronounce those two big words. Pepper extract. A lot of people don't know pepper extract works good on a lot of different things. That's why some of these products in which are made, you'll see, you know, they are created with pepper. You see right here, ginger, cayenne pepper. Well, that's not the pepper I was looking for, but it's another pepper, kind of pepper. That's not that one, but the pepper extract is very key. It's in a lot of some of these products, but if you ever read the labels of certain stuff you buy, look for the pepper extract. It's very key and vital to your body. I got these in the thrift store, which are massage rocks you heat up, And not only do I got that, I bought this the other day as well. This is a 432 hertz vibrational. You put this on your forehead, different parts of your body. You hit it with this little hammer. It'll send vibrational frequencies all throughout your body, and it'll help your tones and cells better rejuvenate. Just like even listening to 432 hertz frequency at night when you sleep, it'll help your body harmonize. Because guess what? Our cells, are a whole ecosystem within themselves, They need to rejuvenate. And these are like ancient tools and techniques to help aid the process, This right here, the singing bowl, this harmonizes and uses frequency as well. So normally when I'm saying my affirmations or prayers, I will literally hit this, bring the bells, and then I'll spin it and it'll create a high-pitched tone. And as I'm reflecting my intentions, my will onto something, it sends those charges into the universe. Starters for business. You see, like I'm really not trying to play with that. I'm gonna really master that to the T. I told you all these other books that I have been reading, Unraveling the Straw Man. I found out so much information, vital, life-changing information. And as I'm reading that, it was talking about common law, and it tell you how common law, when you dealing with police and statutes, codes, and ordinances, and everybody has to pay a fine because you don't have a permission slip, a permit, license to fish, license to drive, all this other stuff, and not telling you that it's your constitutional right to travel within your papers, properties, and persons, whereas though it cannot be confiscated because traveling and driving are two different things, which driving is a commercial term for operating in commerce and transporting goods in a business capacity. Traveling in a motor vehicle is something different. That's a God-given free will right to travel in your property and persons. So you think about it, you get stopped, they ask you for license, registration, and insurance. License is like a permit. You have to be permitted. You have to pay to get permission to operate, but that's still operating in commerce. And they give you an ID in all caps. That is your straw man. That is a separate entity which is a fictitious character, and it's not the living being. So this is how they trick you. This is the great deception. But only reason information like this is coming out now because in the age of Aquarius, the age of information, it's apocalypse. Apocalypse means a great revealing. So all truths must come to the surface. So everything is out there in plain sight. That is the law of the universe. So it has to be put out there so they do not suffer galactic karma. But, study till you show yourself approved. You have to decipher through this information. Decipher means the code, means to discern, because there's a great trickster amongst us, Anybody that has to put that much time and energy into tricking people out of their natural free will, God-given rights, that is diabolical in itself. And it tells you in the book of Revelation that the beast is a system, a multitude that works together as a collective consciousness. And this is what it has been done, And it also tells you, biblically speaking, in that day, knowledge will be increased. So that means that, information is at your fingertips. But at the same time, it says we will suffer great illusions. Well, think about it. Right now, you're seeing all these changes on the planet. The veil is thinning and being lifted. We're seeing things that we wouldn't normally see. But at the same time, we're in the age of AI, artificial intelligence, where we don't know what's real or fake. You think that's a coincidence that type of stuff came out now at this time right now that we are in? At the same time, you got events like the Miami Mall happening. You have the events like what happened in Vegas happening, or events like what was happening in New Jersey a while back ago when they said that they were seeing crafts coming up out of water, or, people seeing, stuff in the wilderness. So this is another way that you can trick people, because now you can write it off and you don't gotta hush people up with disclosures agreements and have them sign to not talk about something. You can easily just write it off as it's AI. It was altered with. So that's the specific reason that has come out in this time, and that should show you even more that you should pay more close attention to the signs of the time. People are out here seeing two suns. We just had a count where it was two different moons within our atmosphere, something that never, ever happens, And then, you have the story of the blue and red kachina, the biblical sign of wormwood, which all correlate with stars, like I said the other day. And it's these things that are like, look at the pictures I posted last night on Facebook. Like, I literally zoomed in and saw something that was not of this world and of this origins. I don't care what nobody say, because even when I cropped it, I changed the filter, the lighting on it, the shape of it, it's too much. Go and look at it. That's why today I specifically bought this telescope, and yeah. And literally, while I'm in the thrift store, I literally made sure I bought, just little $2 books at a time, You got to be able to debunk words, It's just things you got to add on to. You're trying to start a business, You got to have information, that correlates with everything. And this is the stuff that I'm going to invest my time, energy, and money into, You got to make it all count for something, Because it tells you that people will inherit the earth. As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. But, you got to be very mindful and aware of what you were really up against, And it all just boils down to knowledge. Knowledge is the most powerful thing on this planet, It's stronger than magic. Just being able to communicate, express yourself, to where as though you can get people to comprehend, touch their emotions, which is sentient. One of the key things is being a human being, touch their emotions by just being real, with realism and something that they can correlate and relate to, and, that, affects us all as living human beings, So, yeah, it's a lot of tricks at play right now, but, read the Constitution. We got to go back to constitutional law. And Constitution was one of the first things that I actually started, to learn when I first got my gun rights, So I made sure, and just define the word, right here, laws of the land. Now, if you really read these laws, then look at your city ordinance codes and statutes, which actually infringe your rights that don't correspond but contradict the natural common law of the land. That's why it was specifically written for this reason, so that this would never happen. You wouldn't have to get permission slips, to permission slips to, to travel, and do things that you should naturally. If you own your property or you own your land, why do you got to pay all of this money for something that you supposed to own? Why you got to keep paying taxes on something that you own? I can see if it's a one-time fee or something, but why do you got to keep paying money towards a permission slip that's something that you own. You have the right to travel and, you know, to operate on the land that you was created and put on, you know. You didn't set this system up to be this way, but guess what? Back in the early 1900s and 1800s, they would frown upon all of this stuff. You literally got to pay to go fishing, to feed yourself, sustain yourself, collect rainwater. Come on now, we got to get back to the basics, and we got to, you know, break this spell. Ashe, I'm out.